Peace and greetings and welcome in to the latest and the greatest episode of Men of a Certain Age, The Soup. As always, I'm Fro. I got my man Panero with me and my man DL out in the ATL. Peace to the gods. What's good?
What's good? What's good, man? Happy to be here with y'all boys. I'm revitalized. I'm up early. You know what I'm saying? Ready for this great NFL Sunday and ready to
You set it off right there. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah. Let's get this win for the Bills. DK Metcalf is off. I know we flying way out to the great Northwest, but we should be able to take these boys down. Yeah, I played them yesterday and Madden actually lost by 3 points, but I played with the Bills. I played the Bills. A boy gave me the CF. From what I've seen yesterday, as long as we control the running game, we should be all right.
Lord, how you feeling this Sunday, Mianin, Lord?
It's icy in the town.
Already?
Icy in the town, fam.
Oh, no.
Go outside and just join this icy. You see, my polo bear even got his cup of coffee, man. It's icy, man. Yo, yesterday was the first day of early voting for the town, right?
Right.
So I'm like, let me go do my daily business. On Saturdays, I do what I do, my oil change, blase split. I drive by the community center where I'm supposed to vote at. I said, ooh, I'm going to be there tomorrow. I vote tomorrow.
Gang? Was a gang out there?
But I love the fact that it was mad people out there, man. Getting their early vote in. And it looked like a lot of us. Hopefully, it's the real us and not the other us. If you know what I'm saying, we'll get into that later.
Oh, we're definitely going to get into that. So, Lord, the polls was looking like that out there.
Man, it was looking like they was giving away that really good cheese, man. The good slice it hard, big giant chunks of grilled cheese under the stove type cheese, man. But I was loving it, man. I love the fact that people were out exercising their rights.
That's what's up, man. We are what? We are 8 days in a wake up.
Wake up!
From election day, man. We got a lot to cover this week in the soup, man. We got some special guests into the soup, and hopefully we'll never ever have to see this guy again ever in life. Who I'm speaking about is this old fake evangelist hustler Donnie Swaggart, the son of Jimmy Swaggart. He has some real harsh takes on the black church and us as a people, and we're gonna get into that also. Like I said, the stakes is so high and the time is coming short. We even got brothers that we from time to time that are in the soup. They actually snap straight this week, y'all. And who I'm talking about Charlamagne Tha God actually snapped straight this week. And even Mr. Stephen A. Smith, Mr. Essay himself snapped straight.
So these boys got seasoning on them. They got seasoning on them now. That's what I'm talking about.
They definitely came with some real hot, flavorful shit for yourself this week. We also going to get into VP Harris's week. Last week, where she went through, she's been on the ground stumping hard. She's supposed to sit down with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan sat down with old 45, right? This week, and actually got to look him in the eye and see that he's not there. He's
right
out to lunch. And we also got a lot of other things we want to touch on this week. But as we continue on this episode of The Soup, man, we please share and subscribe and comment down low. Let us know how you feel about the election coming up and what your thoughts are. You know what I mean? So UH, man, how was your week and what's your thoughts going into these next 8 days?
You know, my weeks are generally good, man. It was strange this week because I actually had a Karen incident with my neighbor across the street. You know what I mean? Someone who's lived across the street from me for about 5 years or whatever. She decides to park in my parking space when her driveway is fully available. Spaces in front of her houses are available. Space in front of her next door neighbor's house are available. So we got too little to do about it. And I sat and thought about it, and I was like, why would she think that she could just do that? Why would she think she could just park in my spot and it was okay? And after I told her to move her car, that she could just take her time and move her shit. You know what I'm saying? Or seem unmotivated. But it brought me back to the whole Karen thing. It brought me back to white privilege. So when we think about when we were talking offline earlier, and we were talking about we don't understand. Well, I was saying how I don't understand why this thing is even close as far as the election concerned. It's because it's the isms, like you said earlier, Fro. Is people have built-in racial privilege that they think that they should be able to use at any time that they want. And that's why it's so important for us and other like-minded people to get out and vote, man. So that's really the only thing that I'm pensive about, is the secret either Trump supporters or secret either Harris supporters. They're the ones that are keeping me on pins and needles at this point, because everybody else is pretty much decided. You could tell by the early voting that with the amount of early voting that everybody's decided. So I'm just looking to election day, man. Guns, water, and cash, baby.
And that's, as you said earlier, Don, we talked before in the pre-show sit down about how we were feeling about the election coming up. And I've been telling y'all from the beginning that I'm skeptical as hell, because I don't trust it because of the isms. And the racism is still heavy, and they run deep. They are as much American as apple pie in my eyes.
That's right.
You know what I mean? They try to mix it up and flip it, bounce it and flip it, as Ray and Ghost would say. You know what I'm saying? But it's always the same thing in the end, man. P, with these next 8 days in the wake up, what's your thoughts right now? How you feeling going into this into the election, man?
Logically, I'm feeling good, because I feel like the person that's best for the job will win. But my quandary is, there's a lot of people who I felt as though were my air lights, who I found out that are really not. Either they're not doing their research, or they don't have any type of history of self to want to vote for Donald Trump. I don't know what type of black man, black woman would not want to support a black woman for president of the United States, knowing that she has a plan for you. Most of the time, presidents, or like Barack would say, he couldn't just say, I'm going to do something specifically for black people, because he's the president of all people in the United States. This lady is giving you a plan specifically for your community, and you still have an issue with it. I think a lot of us don't understand that we are first. We are the first people. Don't you understand? These other people were in the Caucasus Mountains eating each other, man. We were doing architecture and building pyramids when they were in the Caucasus Mountains, chewing on each other's arms. Learn about who you are and vote accordingly. That's where I'm at right now.
That's peace. You know what I mean? And that's why you first family. You know, me, myself, man, as I look at it and I look around at what's going on and how people are moving, it's a lot of confusion. They get most of their information online. And you look at what's going on and who's right now in control of my platform that I stay on a lot, that I see a lot on, which is Twitter. As we spoke last week about this guy, Elon Musk. Oddly enough, how is this guy, a South African, so entrenched in American politics like that? It makes you sit back and say, man, that's shady. You're from South Africa. Why aren't your interests in South Africa? Why are your interests so powerful in the United States? You got to think of that as a person. It's like, why is he so enthralled in U.S. politics? What's your thoughts on that, UH?
Oh, obviously, I'm definitely not a fan of Elon Musk. Anything that he's associated with is ownership of or has anything to do with, up into including Donald Trump. I just think that this is what frustrates me so much, man, is the lack of logic. Like you said, just yourself, the man is from South Africa. Why is he even why is American politics his concern? Why is politics his concern? You know what I mean? He's already got large defense contracts. He's already the world's richest man. He's got all these different technological innovations coming out to take more of our money. But why is he so entrenched in our political system? And if you look at his knowledge, and obviously him being a product of apartheid, he understands if you can keep people in a certain order, a certain caste system, and he does agree with universal basic income, that if you can keep people at a menial level and keep them committed and convicted that the dollar is their answer, then that's a good strategy for him, because he's got products that people are going to always desire. The thing about it is that he's going to make a lot of the people who are believing in him, who for some reason find him a hero or some type of demigod, he's going to make a lot of their lives a lot worse, and they don't even realize it. It's really interesting to see how stupid people are.
And that goes back to what we were talking about off air. That is, you don't think that this cat from South Africa got that ism
Heavy
inbred in him
through his bloodstream
to want to oppress? What's your thoughts on that, Lord? On this guy Elon Musk muscling his way into our politics within that in this last 15 years? Now all of a sudden he in the forefront of American politics.
I think Elon is a supreme capitalist, and being a son of apartheid, he's a supreme racist. So like Don said, to him, the mighty dollar is number one, and to separate people and to make money off of them is his priority. To use this country, which has the largest gross national product, and we spend so much money here across the world, he wants to take part in that. It's all about the bread with him, and it's all about him associating himself with the racists like Donald Trump. And the thing is about Trump and about Musk, say 1 billion people know who these guys are. And if 500 million people don't like these people, their focus is on the other half. So when you focus on that half that likes you and you keep giving them all types of bullshit to be against the other half, that's the only way they can succeed. You know what I'm saying? And this is what they're doing. It's like Don said, it's like a caste system of untouchables and then the elite. So now what Elon is doing is he's connecting himself with Trump, who really isn't a businessman. Obviously, through his record, you can see that he's failed at everything that he's done, but he's still white. And that's all that matters to a lot of people. Just like Elon Musk, he's white. And if you're driving a protractor, you down with Elon Musk. Don't let me grab my protractor and just grab it and run it across the screen to get around this motherfucker.
So, can I say something real quick, Fro?
Of course.
I just want to say something real quick, man. Much Teslas as I see, and much as we know this guy is demented. Just say, for instance, Trump loses, right? And this guy is okay. He downloads a program into every Tesla that if your driver is black, to go crash into a wall at 100 miles an hour.
Shut it down.
Think he can?
Man.
I mean, really seriously think that he can't do something like that. So people have to understand who they're giving their power to as well, and they're just not getting it. They really are.
You're supporting, right? Yeah.
For me, it's gonna be 8 days from today. It's gonna be a referendum on the ism, man.
Yeah.
Is the ism in the United States stronger than the community that we all want, that we all not well, we don't all, that we should want? Is the ism going to be greater than us coming together as a country? It's staying together, right. Allegedly staying together as a country, because they're doing a hell of a job of pitting us against one another.
Yes, he does. Yes,
and I say that again as we continue to cook on this episode of The Soup, man. How much, if any, have y'all been paying attention to what's been going on overseas, man?
I have been, but not as much as the elections. Our elections gotten closer. My attention is narrowed. I do see that Ukraine is taking it to Russia, that the Russians have brought in some North Koreans to beef with Ukraine, to put on the front line in Ukraine. I saw that happen. I saw they had the BRICS conference last week with the guys who are trying to topple the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I saw that these boys they basically about to go to war with Iran. That's basically about to happen. So sooner or later, it's going to happen.
So as we move forward and we going towards the election, 8 days in the wake up towards the election, the Middle East, as you were just alluding to, now they over in Lebanon now, dropping bombs and doing whatever it is they do over there. Check this out. Trump signals for the support of the Israeli offensive, right? He talking to Bibi Netanyahu, right? It's
Do what
like
you gotta do.
they in cahoots. It's I'm gonna mix it up because Netanyahu is pretty much Trump over there. Because
Right.
if he ain't on a war right now, his ass would be in court on some shit, whatever he got going on over there in Israel. So they tied together, man. And you look at the ism, man. Again, with the ism, we up against the ism, man. Trump calling Netanyahu and checking in.
The thing about it is, if Kamala becomes president, which she will, she's more of a support of the actual Palestinians. You know what I mean? And Netanyahu is not obviously supporting the people that are truly from that area. So it's almost like we were talking about in earlier shows. It's almost like it's really extremely racist for someone to come into your area and take it over. And then Netanyahu supports those people, and Trump supports those people also. So with Kamala, they're not going to have, the U.S. is not going to have a relationship, a good relationship if she becomes president, because she's not going to come right out and say it, but she does support the Palestinians. So of course she's going to attach herself to Trump, because that's what racist people do. Yahoo is racist towards the actual Palestinians. Trump is racist towards the people here in the United States. So they're in common with each other. That's what they have in common with each other.
Is that normal? Is the real big homie picking up the horn and hollering at Netanyahu? Is Bill Clinton? Well, that's my thought pattern is, why is this guy just freely just connecting with Netanyahu? What's up with that?
I think that birds of a feather flock together. These guys are all oppressors, dictators, want to be strong men. If you think about him in his relationship with Putin, the same type of guy, you know what I mean? Who's oppressing? I'm not the biggest fan of Europe, but he's oppressing the Ukrainians right now. A distinctly different ethnic group, you know what I mean? Have been and will be historically. And then you got Netanyahu over there in the Middle East oppressing Islam, basically. The Palestinians, the Lebanese, the Iraqs, probably the Iranians. Trump has the same MO, same game plan. He wants to use the military to do what? Go door to door, get immigrants up.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? He wants to use the military to quell protests. But strongmen basically like to hang together, and that's why Trump's going to be like, hey, yeah, that's a symbol of strength. You know what I mean? When actually strength is having the knowledge to know when you need to fight and when you don't need, and when you negotiate. It's the same playbook from the same tired, old, power-hungry death grip of white supremacy leaders.
And see, and that's the reason why I look at it with my eyebrow raised, because I know this is another thing that she has going against her. You know what I'm saying? She got the whole Palestinian Israel thing going on. Then you got the European men who ain't gonna vote for her because she's black and she's a woman. We got this. We have to stand strong as a people and snap to it. And there's been a lot of that going on this week. And also this week, man, our favorite, Mr.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism.
There he is.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism.
So as we are 8 days in the wake up away from it, Dr. Umar has reemerged and is going to submerge it in the soup. So he sat down with Nick Cannon this week, and they chopped it up about the presidential. So let's see what Dr. Umar and
peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism,
what they are talking about as we are 8 days in the wake up away from the election.
I want to see what type of outfit he got on.
He jive all right a little bit.
He got to get it together.
Yeah, he don't look like he shopped at the Central Park Plaza joint in this joint.
Boy, got an outfit. He got on an outfit like he a kid and shit. He got an outfit on my outfit.
Man.
So, as a Pan-Africanist, someone who knows that it's all about pageantry, what we have representing our country as the United States of America can be one or two things right now. Billionaire, older white man who has been known to not care about the black community.
Correct.
Or a black woman, a woman of color. Even if you don't take the word black away, we'll go woman of color.
We got to stay with black.
Okay,
And we're going to talk about why.
Okay, but I'm saying
it can't be woman of color.
For the rest of the representation, for the rest of the world to look at the United States of America and the pageantry that we represent, what would be a better choice of identity in pageantry than a white man that's all about money and told us that he cares nothing about us but cares about him? That's the pageantry. Or a woman that at least, and just start a woman that at least shows that she has some sense of compassion, empathy for the people of the United States of America.
Stay right there. You said a woman who shows that she has some compassion for the people of the United States of America.
Right.
But this is the same woman who said America is not a racist country. This is the same woman who said, I'm not going to do anything that's going to only benefit black people, while she sat in office and watched President Joe Biden pass an anti-Asian hate bill, anti-Asian hate executive order, Native American executive order, LGBTQ executive order, and law. So how can Kamala Harris, the so-called black woman, say that I can't do anything just for black people, but you sat in the White House for 4 years with President Biden and watch him take care of specific groups of non-white people, and you didn't demand one thing for your own black people that you claim to be a part of?
Now, again, because those are a lot of semantics in a sense, because we've heard this argument before. She can say a lot of that stuff is taken out of context. A lot of the process of when she's saying she wants to do things for all people and not just black people specifically. We also know that bill, the Asian hate bill, is actually a bill that is for all.
No, it's not. Did you read it?
I mean,
it's not for everybody. They only discuss Asian and Pacific Islander hate in the COVID-19 hate crimes bill. It is not for everybody. It is for Asians and Pacific Islanders.
Okay.
And now stay with me.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with them protecting
as they should,
Asians and Pacific Islanders.
It was very specific in that moment.
Yes.
Because a lot of that was
my problem is how do the Asians get an anti-hate bill after one massacre? And don't get me wrong, that's enough to get a bill. But black people been catching hell for 4 centuries, and we ain't got one yet. And what's been done to us is way worse than what has ever been done to any other group.
There's bills that have protected over the history.
Name me one bill in American history that was written just for black folks since the end of slavery. Give me one.
Civil Rights Act.
Because the Civil Rights Bill was for everybody.
Come on.
The James Byrd,
but the Civil
that's
Rights
for everybody.
The Civil Rights Bill was definitely ushered in by us.
So let me ask you a question. It might have been ushered in by you. All the bills were ushered in by us. But who benefited the most? Affirmative action and the Civil Rights Bill benefited homosexuals and white women far more than it benefited black people. In fact, the Dixiecrats and the Republicans refused to sign it.
Affirmative action?
Yes.
Wow.
There's been recent, yes.
So he's pathetic. He's
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism.
What's your thoughts, UH, on the conversation? First of all, I applaud Nick Cannon for sitting down and then engaging Mr.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism.
What's your thoughts on that conversation right there?
Hey, I'm gonna pass the ball to D and let D run a rock. I'm gonna have to, because I twisted my ankle listening to that now. So give me a chance to...
Okay, Lord, let's go ahead and pass it to you.
I think what Dr. Umar has to stick with a specific plan. Like, it's hard to listen to Don said. Even though Nick Cannon asked him about Trump and Kamala, he just went in completely on VP Harris. He didn't say anything regarding all of Trump's negativity, and he went strictly on going after VP Harris. That shows me that he's a misogynist. You know what I'm saying? That shows me that he's sexist. And there was a lot of times where I would say I would agree with a lot, or I would go 80-20 with him. I'm at this point where I'm not even 50-50 with this guy, because it's like it's a persona that he has to stick with in order to either get clicks or money or whatever he's doing. But it's just like he takes things out of context, like Nick said, for his own agenda. And it's disgusting. What kind of black man doesn't want to support a black woman? A black woman taught me how to read. You know what I'm saying? A black woman was my first school teacher. A black woman taught me all kinds of things. How could you not support a black woman? And when it comes to her not being, people not saying that she's black, I think he wanted to say that also. How are you not black when your father's Jamaican? That doesn't make any sense. We talked about the one drop rule a couple weeks ago during the show. Come on, man. If it don't fit your narrative, you go out spewing a bunch of bullshit. Don already sprained his ankle listening to the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know where these people come from, but god damn it, are you that starved for attention that you just gotta go out and spew a bunch of bullshit? I just can't fuck with this dude, man.
Let me ask you this, because I hear that from Dr. Umar. I hear that from Ice Cube. What is it that they specifically want for us, that they think that Kamala Harris or Barack Obama or whatever president has not presented us? What is it that they are looking to get? Because they always talk about what we're not getting. I've never heard them say what
they want.
They want.
I don't know. It's amazing. I listened to the song called from Brent Fires when he talks about people always talk about what they want, but they don't know what they want. You know what I mean? That's a very good question, because it can't be reparations, because there's already efforts, bills, legislation in place throughout the country for reparation efforts. So it's definitely not that, because we see how that's going. That's definitely an uphill battle. They're really trying to wear us down with that. That's a war of attrition. What else could they possibly want? Anything else that they possibly could want could be covered by programs. Now, as we spoke in the earlier pod, we all understand that because there's government and there's a budget, programs can be eliminated, similar to the Boys and Girls Clubs and stuff like that when we were growing up. So programs can be eliminated, but at least they are things that are in place to help people continue to move up the economic and educational ladder. So I really don't know what, like you say, what specifically they want. But I will say this about Dr. Umar. As much as and as eloquently as he speaks, he is clearly not a system of relative history, because the Civil Rights Bill obviously was written specifically for us, right? For Scott was a situation where where our human rights have been taken away, and the Civil Rights Bill basically corrected all those things. Right. And since the implementation of the Civil Rights Bill, what's happening is that anytime there's been federal hate crime, there's been a situation where a crime wasn't prosecuted at state level or it was dismissed at the state level, the feds have jumped in and used the Civil Rights Bill as a way to prosecute people. And that's been thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times since the 60s. So for him to say that, what have they done and what specifically have they done? You don't need to look any further than the United States government and the effect of that bill. So that shows you his ignorance, and it shows you that he's only pandering to his point. Right. Because he said there's no way in the world that any black person should disavow Kamala Harris when she's compared to Donald Trump. The other person I think that could probably beat Kamala Harris, or is more qualified than Kamala Harris, is somebody who can't even run, which is Barack Obama. Other than that, I really don't see anybody who deserves our vote more than her. It's just nonsensical. And I'm done listening to him, because he's clearly going to bend which way, like we talked about Lord Jamar last week, which way gets him the most clicks. He's going to try to keep himself hot. He's going to try to keep himself in the soup. You know what I mean? So I'm not feeling him, man. Zero. I'm really done went down from like 86 to 2.
Well, bro, to your question to Don, I think what it is, they're afraid of they feel like it's going to be some type of redistribution of wealth. And it's not something that what they want. Is they feel like somebody's going to take something away from them. You know what I'm saying? They feel like that Kamala is going to even the playing field out or raise their taxes, or it's something personal. it's personal. It's money. It's because she's a woman. It's because I'm saying it's a trust thing. I don't trust this black woman because she gonna make it fair and she gonna make us pay taxes. She gonna make things right, and I don't want it to be right, pretty much, because I want things for me. That's what that shit is. That's what it's all about.
Capitalism over community.
Exactly. I call them sandwich motherfuckers.
So it's like this, right? Something you said earlier in your point. Nonsensical. I'm gonna get into some nonsense. And it does involve
Peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism.
Check this out real quick.
Time to hold the vote until we get something. It's time to hold the vote until we get something.
Anybody telling you that you gotta vote, be skeptical.
I want you to spot the difference between the way that right-wing conservatives are talking about voting and the way that people allegedly interested in progress are talking about voting. Every election cycle, someone insists that black folks, for one reason or another, should not vote.
Hold the vote until we get something.
But have you ever noticed that conservative white people are rarely, maybe even never told that they should be withholding their vote? In fact, this is what white Christian nationalists have been saying to each other in plain sight for decades.
They want everybody to vote. I don't want everybody to vote.
That's Paul Weyrich back in 1980.
Elections are not won by a majority of people. They never have been from the beginning of our country, and they are not now.
He's a godfather in the modern conservative movement, and he co-founded the Heritage Foundation. Yes, the folks who have been producing the document known as Project 2025 for the last 40 plus years.
As a matter of fact, our leverage in the elections quite candidly goes up as the voting populace goes down.
What they know is that their vision for America is profoundly unpopular. And as such, it hinges entirely on people like you not showing up.
Shout out to Garrison Hayes, man, for doing the work, man.
He drops it. Yeah, the Garrison definitely puts it there. Respect.
Yeah. And while we're at it, I want to share this one with you too, my brothers.
You had to choose between feeding your family or voting. You only made $2 a week because you didn't have jobs that we have today. So a lot of us didn't vote because
back in the day.
We decided to feed our family. What do? Vote or feed your family.
And what year was this, ma'am?
1960.
And you
This is my original. I have the original.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. Only for us, though.
Yeah.
So you see this, Earth in line going to cast her vote. Then you have social media stars like Dr. Umar.
Peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism.
Screaming, hold your vote. And you have Ice Cube, tie-dyed, beard, and the Raider Skelly looking all fierce and screw-faced in the camera telling us to hold our vote. Well, Earth, and you know what I mean, in order to cast a vote. That's how hard they were trying to make it for us to try and cast our vote, to be heard. And then you got fools like them up there talking about hold your vote, UH. What the hell?
People don't, like I said, we were just saying, people don't even have a sense of what happened on January 6, 2021. So how can you expect them to have a sense of what was happening back in the 60s and the 50s at this point? Because poll taxes were real. The fact that what they're doing is closing down, voter suppression is real and has been real. Jim Crow was real. These are things and laws and legislation that were put into place to stop us from voting because they realize that in a democratic country, that's the most important thing is your vote. That's why they try to disenfranchise you. That's why if you're a felon and you in certain states, you can never vote again. You know what I mean? Certain states, they have reinstatement of rights like Georgia. I don't know. I think New York has it as well. But there are certain things that you can and cannot do that they have in place to make sure that people, specifically us, are not allowed to be a force that we can be when it comes to American politics. And for anyone to tell us not to, after all the Black people were killed, before, after, during, stopped, harassed for voting, you have to honestly be sick in the head and completely and totally against Black people. That is nonsensical. There's the word of the day, nonsensical.
There you go.
Lord, you see the European up on the opposite side of what these fools is up here talking about, right? tell these people, man, vote 5 times if you can. You know what I'm saying? He is telling his people that look like him the total opposite of what Dr. Umar and Ice Cube is talking about. The total opposite. And all that is doing for us is hurting us listening to them talk about don't vote. Like you just said, Don, all of our ancestors put their lives on the line.
Died. Yeah.
People went to try to vote and didn't come back. And y'all want to talk about hold your vote? For what? What am I holding my vote for, Dr. Umar, so I can get a double Big Mac from McDonald's and a large fry? What am I holding my vote for you for? What are you talking about, B? What the hell are they talking about, P?
It don't make any sense. It's only 13% of us in this country, B. We're only in pockets of big cities in the country. It's not like it's an abundance of us. And you're telling us to hold our vote. All our votes actually count. And the thing
Every last one.
And the thing is, it's not just for president. You have to vote for legislators. You have to vote for Senate. You have to vote for everything, because later on, when the law hits you and it's not, you get the negative of the law hits you and you never voted for the legislation for the law, then you're going to complain, this country blase splee, and this country just not the third. But you never put your motherfucking foot in to vote. So you can vote for the things that would help your community. But for Ice Cube, somebody who's fucking rich and probably lives in a gated community, he don't give a fuck about you. What happened to the fucking platinum plan with 2 pages? What happened with that? Nothing. Now, VP Harris has a 9-page plan for us, but that nobody talks about. But again, Dr. Umar thinks he has to say things to fit his actual narrative, because he has to be peace and Pan-Africanism and be a misogynist and against women. Ice Cube is not, he's so rich that he doesn't even look at us as an equal. So he'll tell you to hold your vote, because it ain't going to affect him. It's going to affect you when you hold your vote.
And he going to vote.
And that motherfucker, man, come on, man.
You know,
commercial DJ, man.
Commercial DJ, for sure. You know what I've noticed, and I've come to the realization of, the ones who always is screaming, don't vote, or the ones that's always talking about shitting on VP Harris or whatever, I ain't voting for her, they don't vote anyway. Those people are those to be, look at me, I'm different. This is what I'm doing over here. This is what the cool people is on. The cool people don't vote, whereas it's the dumb folks don't vote.
Jedi mind trick shit, yeah.
It is absolutely ridiculous, man. And as we continue on this episode of The Soup, man, we're going to get into the church. All of us, in one way or another, have been in the Black church somehow, some way. Whether it's straight from your moms, your grandmoms, your great-grandmoms, however, the Black church is in the Black community. And then you say the Black church. Why is it the Black church? Because of the ism is why there is a Black church. So I'm saying all of that to say this, man. 8 days in the wake up is bringing out the hatred, and it's going to show if the hatred is stronger than the love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to see if the hatred is stronger than the love, because all of us, and I said this in a different pod, we have blended families all across America. You have a nephew, you have a sister, you have a aunt or uncle,
cousin
who is married to someone that is other than African American, Black, however, somehow, some way. And that's the way it is, and that's how it should be. You love who you love at the end of the day, man. And people want to take it and show there is, and this is, again, in 8 days in the wake up, we're going to see if that ism is stronger than the love, man.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that to say this. Let's get into this Swaggart one time down. Let's get into this.
Von Franklin.
I'm fixing to make some people mad right now. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be, for the statement I'm about to make, I'm going to be called a racist. And I will be called every name under the sun. But somebody needs to stand up and speak to the black church.
And you're the one to do it, huh?
When the largest African-American Pentecostal denomination, when that leader stands up and said, I endorse that woman, he was saying, I endorse murder.
Oh.
I endorse homosexuality.
What?
I endorse lesbianism. I endorse transgenderism. I endorse every evil that hell could prosper, bring up to the right. That's wrong, folks. And the black church votes predominantly for the party that is anti-God. What's going on here? What's going on? See, my statement to them is this. We've had them call into the program. I don't like it when you talk about like this. No, the problem is they don't like it because we're stepping on their toes. Hello? But I guarantee you, if 1860 was today, they wouldn't say a word about preachers preaching against slavery.
What the fuck did this dude just say? Yo!
African American church, stand up for righteousness and stand up for the word of God. Come on, church. Come on. You can call me a racist. You can call me every name under the sun, but I am right. I come against you in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. You don't vote for somebody just because mama voted or daddy voted for them, but you vote according to the word of God. Come out from among them and be ye separate, says the
I'm never hearing him. Go right ahead.
Yeah, Fred, I'm about to speak in tongues, so let me get it.
So yeah, we don't really shout out to the good Reverend Doctor, whoever my man was. Now, if y'all want to check that out, check out Rowland Martin. Shout out to Rowland because, as I always say, he holds it down for us. You
No
know,
doubt.
by us. He's out there on the front line, and I respect him for that, man. Again, I said earlier, man, it's going to come down to the ism. Is the ism greater than the love? That black man sitting up there in that church,
wow,
listening to this man spew his hatred, sitting up there, deacon, whoever he is, sitting on the front row, or brother, whoever he is, sitting on the front row. And this man is talking about a time where we had no say.
Right.
He talking about a time when we had nothing. We wouldn't have said nothing because we couldn't say anything. If we did say something, we all know what the consequences and the repercussions of that is, man. Is the ism greater than the love, you ain't?
Man, I'm coming off a sprained ankle. I just tweaked my hamstring, but I'm gonna jump right in the game, man. Your boy got hit me with a shot, man, because these dudes out of control out here today. Clearly it is, and I'm not ever one to question someone's religion because that's, that your soul is your responsibility, right? So I say that to say, I understand historically what Christianity has been in the United States of America for Black people. Obviously, it was used to subdue a lot of us, make us docile to a certain point, to follow the slave masters, manipulate it so that we would remain in the system and subservient for quite some time. Now, I'm not a Christian personally, but I will say this, that the Black church was primarily responsible for the changes that took place in the 50s and 60s, i.e. civil rights and the unifying force that made those things possible, because obviously there were a lot of people that were committed to it. However, we are distinctly different and we have our own agenda. So someone like the racist Donnie Swaggart, I'm glad his name is Donnie, not Don, but somebody like the racist Donnie Swaggart would never understand where we're coming from, because fundamentally they are against us. They are the people who use Christianity as a tool of subserviency and as a tool to hold us down. And as you can tell, that's the way that he looks at it. Now, obviously, the majority of us aren't compliant with that type of thought. But to see it said in plain English that, hey, listen, this is what you should do because this is who you are and this is who I am. Is basically what he said, and it's incredible. And I'm glad that there's a lot of pushback from Black clergy on this matter.
Right.
P double, push a Lex bubble in the winter. You know what I'm saying? When you see this dude spewing that hatred in his pulpit to his people, how many of his people sat there and just said, I'm with him? Or how many people sat up in there and was like, man, is he really saying this right now? In quote unquote, a place of God?
Right.
So who's supposed to love everybody? If that one's all he had to do was pull out his sheet and put it on right then and there.
Lace up the hood, huh?
Like the cross on fire. 2024, and this man said, what was it, 1860?
1860, hit it right on the year before the Civil War.
Yeah.
And he's in North Carolina.
Man, we all grew up in the church. All of us. You know what I'm saying? And as we got older and started figuring things out and started figuring out ourselves and started getting knowledge of self, maybe that's not us, but no disrespect to the church. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it goes. When it comes to Donnie, the devil is never going to appear to himself as the devil, because if he does, you're not going to make that deal with him. You know what I'm saying? And this is what he is. You know what I'm saying? That the thing about him criticizing the Black church, what fucking sack, what kind of balls did you have? It wouldn't be a Black church if you were an actual church and were inviting to Black people. The only reason why there's a Black church is because they had to start their own church. You wouldn't allow them into your church, you asshole. The thing about it is, you can look at these people, like Fro said, in your face. And if there's Black people in the congregation, why are you still there? You know what I'm saying? You need to get up out of there. This dude is telling you straight up that he's a racist. And he's telling you he don't care if you call him a racist. So it's nuts for somebody to sit up there and cheer him on. Because if they do cheer him on, they might as well grab a hood and a horse too and put the damn and light this cross up in front of a Black person's house. This is what we are in 2024. You gotta be fucking kidding me, man. Shit is crazy.
This shit is like scene from Django, just to see him sitting up there, he just eating that shit sandwich like it's the best meal that he's ever had in his life. You know what I mean? How can you just sit there in the pew and be like, you know what? You're right. Unless Uncle Ruckus, that's you. Unless you are Uncle Ruckus, there's no way any self-respecting Black person could have sat up there in that service and just said, I agree with what he's putting down right now, man. And, you know, that's what I say, man. It's a referendum on America on November 5th, man. Are we a nation of hate or are we a nation of love? We already know, for the most part, we're a capitalist society. That's the reason why this fuckboy Elon Musk has his hands directly in the political situation. She has so much against her, man. Hopefully, prayerfully, man, that she can withstand this onslaught, because it don't make no sense what she has going against her. And as I continue on in the soup, man, there's a guy who's been in the soup a few different times. We've called him a super villain on a couple of occasions. Our arch nemesis, and who I'm speaking of is Mr. Glass himself. To show you how much of a villain he is, Trump even shoots a shout out to him. Wow. Let's get into this real quick.
So we got this poll last night from Rasmussen, and it was very, they also did it like with Kennedy and with the other ones in there. Cornel West. He's one of my favorite candidates, Cornel West.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I like.
Yep. We're gonna just stop right there with old Corny Corn West. I looked for him to make sure that he wasn't on the Tennessee ballot. He wasn't there. But, you know, on the ballots, but Kay was definitely on there.
Wow.
He was on the ballot here in Tennessee. But yeah, man, Trump sending shouts out to old Mr. Glass because he know what Mr. Glass is out here doing on the ballots that he's on. Oh, I love Cornell. He's one of my favorites. We're best of friends. Cornell West, Lord.
And the thing about it is he says that thinking that other black people will be like, if Trump likes Cornell, then maybe I should vote for Trump. You know what I mean? Because they say he's a racist, but Cornell is black, isn't he? Even though he's a black supervillain, he's still black, right? No, he's saying that because he knows if you vote or if you even attempt to vote for Cornell, the votes are gonna split it to a point where Trump is gonna get the actual vote because you're gonna be taking votes away from the Democratic Party. That's why he love him, because he's fucking the vote up. He throwing that Mr. Glass shit in there, throwing shit all around, fucking shit up, and making it better for Trump. Man, why would Cornell? I don't understand. I don't get it. But again, people can overthink things. He's an intelligent person to a point where he's stupid. That's my take on him.
On one hand, H, you got this European televangelist in the pulpit skewing racism, and then you have the good professor, the Frederick Douglass acolyte, wannabe, out here saying, I'm going to run for president. What good is Cornell West doing running for president?
Zero. He's a non-factor. He's non-consequential. No, I can't say he's non-consequential because he said every vote that's cast for Cornel West is a vote taken away from Kamala Harris. So there's always going to be a person who under realizes their potential, and he has no potential. So by him under realizing it, he's doing nothing but being a detriment to the community as a whole. And like we say, it's capitalism over the community. If you're really down with us, like he claims to love black people as much as he knows about black people and so on and so forth like that, you know what? Why would you do something that's going to potentially hurt black people in any way, shape, or form? It doesn't make any sense to me, man. I just don't understand why he thought that he would even be a factor in any way, shape, or form. Even if he gets 2,000 votes, man, that's still 2,000 votes that were for Harris. That's crazy.
Does this help or hurt his legacy? Is this something that he's looking to have on his mantle, that I once ran for president? What are we doing for real, Cornell? What you are too smart not to know that you are not helping. You are more than you are more so a hindrance than anything. So it's a point that it's his ego. Like I said, is it a point that he needs this notch to be said about him that he ran for president in 2024? Because we all know he has to know he can't win.
It's a superiority complex, bro. He has a superiority complex, man.
There you go.
And I think it's a black bourgeoisie type thing. You know, sometimes you think you're so much smarter than your own people that you're above them to a point where you're pretty much agreeing with the Donnies, but not at the same time. But you are, because you're putting us in the same boat he putting us in, because you're too smart for your own good. His issue, and that's why he's a fucking supervillain of men of a certain age to suit. A crazy, wild Don King hair motherfucker. I can't stand that dude, man.
Yeah, Cornel West, to me, for everything from I've known about Cornel West, this kind of out of nowhere from where
we used to fuck with him though, right, bro?
Yeah, for sure.
When he first race matters and everything, right? Come on, man. What's going on?
When he first came on the scene, or when I first got wind of him, I was like, let me listen to this brother. He seems like a serious brother. And again, much like Dr. Umar, there was a time where I was in a great agreement and the things that he was saying and things that he was standing for. But for him to just come out of nowhere and all of a sudden say, I'm running for president this time around, I just don't understand where he's going with that, man. But as we continue on, man, and as we start to turn down the heat on the soup, on this pot of soup, man, I want to bring up, again, as always, we have 8 days in the wake up. And during this week, man, a lot of stuff that made me to say, oh, word? That this was going down, and why I say that is Charlamagne Tha God, or Don, you call him Charlamagne the fraud. You know what I mean? He snapped straight a little bit this week, and I had to say, man, respect due, Paul.
The potato,
right?
The potato.
He supplied some good nutrients to the soup this week, man. When
he has seasoning. We have seasoned potatoes.
Man, listen,
seasoning, fam.
He had some little garlic sauce on there. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of salt and pepper. One time, and he had to have some flavor because he was going into a real bland area with Anderson Cooper, who puts no seasoning on his food. So he went on CNN and he called Anderson Cooper out a little bit. I enjoyed it because it touched the nerve with old Mr. Cooper, and Mr. Cooper died.
Let's just bullshit.
And sometimes the truth, as they say, the truth hurts.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And a couple of days before, he was on the town hall with VP Harris. And again, they'd like to try to ask questions to VP Harris and expect her to break it down to the very last compound on things. And then when she does, it's still
never enough.
Whereas they go talk to 045 and he get to weaving, just like on the Joe Rogan joint. He asked him a couple things and he was like, yo, your weave is wide as fuck right now. You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't making no damn sense.
Oh, it was out already? The interview was out already?
Yeah. I caught clips. I haven't seen the whole thing, just clips of it. You know how we do. So,
but the thing is, bro, like you was just saying, like Van Jones said, she has to be flawless and he can be lawless. You know what I mean? And just say
straight up.
Shout out to Van Jones for that right there, man.
And see, that just goes to show how the stakes is high. Is that when we salute Van Jones for saying some real shit.
Exactly. Stakes is high.
Belly in his spine. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into Charlamagne and Anderson Cooper one time down, fellas.
I think that her saying that she thinks that she believes Donald Trump is a fascist got a lot of headlines because it was the first time she said it. She's been going on for days saying Mark Milley said he's a fascist. This person said this. You raised the question of authenticity in your interview with her, and that was an authentic moment where she says, yeah, I do think he's a fascist. And I think that's why it had a reaction. Donald Trump, he, for whatever you think about him, if you like him, if you hate him, he is certainly who he is. He's showing us who he is every single day.
Yeah, which is a fascist. And it's crazy because you still don't have having that. Like when somebody questions Kamala Harris's blackness or is he a DEI hire, y'all will have roundtable discussions about that, asking that question. How come you're not having roundtable discussions asking, is Donald Trump a fascist? Actually, not even asking it, stating it. When you look at the things that he's talking about doing, jailing journalists, jailing his political opponents, turning the military on American citizens. The guy said he wanted to terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. How come that is not the topic of discussion on networks like CNN every day?
But do you think that you were raising this with Kamala Harris about her own authenticity, about her own willingness to just say things that aren't crafted? Do you think she needs to do more of that? Trump's going to go. Needs to keep Trump's going to go. Apparently, Trump's going on is going to tape a thing with Joe Rogan. Do you think she should do that?
I think that she should keep calling Donald Trump a fascist, and I think that Americans need to keep rhetoric of Donald Trump, because I don't know why we're even thinking about electing somebody who's talking about putting people in camps. I don't know why why we want to elect somebody who's talking about mass deportation. I don't know why we're having this conversation about somebody who wants to terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. Aren't we supposed to be a patriotic country? Whenever somebody like Colin Kaepernick takes a knee in this country, everybody talks about, oh, that's so unpatriotic. But a guy can say he wants to terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. And like even keep bringing it up now. You brought it back to Kamala and Joe Rogan. Anderson?
Yeah.
Who gives a damn?
I think you give a damn who's elected president. And
I'm asking that president is a fascist. That's talking about putting people in camps. That's talking about, once again, terminating the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. That's talking about jailing his political opponents. Like that rhetoric.
We talk about this. This is what I've been talking about this every night.
I don't think y'all have enough conversations about it. I feel like I heard more on this network about is Kamala Harris black than I do about Donald Trump being a fascist.
Well,
am I wrong, Angela?
Honestly, that's bullshit. I'm sorry.
Oh, I like that.
Oh,
That's bullshit.
got him out of character. Got him out of character.
Say that we're sitting around discussing is Kamala Harris black? Like
I've seen that. I've seen those roundtable discussions a lot. Now that's bullshit, Anderson. For you to say that y'all don't have no conversations.
I've never asked somebody is.
Oh, I'm not saying
you personally, asshole.
I don't think anyone. I don't think any anchor on this network has been going around saying, "Is she black?"
Y'all never had
definitely.
We have had. I'm sure we have had nutty people or people who have strongly held beliefs who I may disagree with, who somewhere on some panel have said something, but I will just speak up for what I do on the show. I do believe it's important to get people different viewpoints as long as they're willing to have a legitimate conversation. What I don't like are surrogates who come out and just spout talking points that they don't even believe, and those are people I tried to eliminate from having ever on the air again.
I think no network has honest conversations about Donald Trump. Nobody's had honest conversations about Donald Trump since 2016. I saw last night they were talking about the double standard that exists between Donald Trump and the vice president, but it's always a double standard with Trump, whether it's with Hillary, whether it's, again, out with Kamala. We talk about him being a threat to democracy, but we don't treat him like one.
I don't know what you've been watching, but I don't know if any Trump supporters out there or people who like him who are tuning in to me every night to try to.
Yeah, we heard Anderson go like he was transferred to a gun or something. Shout out to the God. I mean? You see, his gold piece was Elijah Muhammad. If you did have to notice that his gold piece was the head of Elijah Muhammad. Whatever that's worth, peace to that.
Peace and blessings be upon him.
It was good to see him fight back and get that man off his square on national television, because we have talked about the media from the beginning, right? We've been on this media kick and how they cover and how they don't cover. How did you feel, Don, about Charlamagne? We all know how you feel about Charlamagne. How did you feel about this little back and forth he had right there? Shout out to Angela Rye too, man.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. Shout out to Angela Rye. Shout out to Anderson Cooper for giving Charlamagne that platform. And shout out to Charlamagne for finally making it be known and just giving it to us in raw form. Because he didn't even mention the police, total police immunity, but he mentioned the things that people should really be concerned about, which are the termination of the Constitution, the fact that he's willing to turn the army against American citizens, the fact that they're going to have mass deportations. So I hope people understand, I don't think that people are taking this seriously because we've never lived in a place like Trump's vision for America. But somebody coming to my door talking about who's in your house and, you know what I mean? Checkpoints in my street. And no, I'm not trying to live in a militarized state under any circumstances, bro. So I'm glad he actually came out and just said it in plain English that, he's voting for that there's really only one choice, and that the media needs to really spend more time on the fact that Donald Trump, and not his antics, but the fact that he is a true fascist at core. Right. I'm glad that he to me, he vindicated himself at this point. You know what I mean? Me and him are back on even keel because he let it be known and he gave the reasons why, and I respect it. Shouts out to Charlamagne Tha God.
Let's be clear, Lord. If CNN, if Fox News, if MSNBC covered it fair and balanced, they would be saying Trump is a fascist, right? They would be saying that this man is unhinged. They would be saying that he cannot complete a coherent thought.
It's too much money involved. You know what I'm saying? I think what happened with Charlamagne, when I was growing up, there was a fence between Coons and Goodyear that we used to jump over. If you jump over on one side, obviously you're on Goodyear. If you go on the other side, you're on Coons. Charlamagne was always on the fence. You know what I'm saying? And now he's on Coon Street. I appreciate it. But I think what happened was when she came on the Breakfast Club and she had the interview with the Breakfast Club, I think she probably pulled him aside before or after and was like, listen, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? What is you doing? I'm here trying to help you. I'm here trying to help our people. I'm here trying to become the president of the United States. And you have the platform to put me over the hump, and you want some fake shit. I think you know how your auntie pull you to the side and say, listen, I see you messing with her, and you got her over here, and I see you going over here to that. You're going to get caught up. You don't get your ass caught up. And she auntie the shit out of him. And now he's where he's supposed to be. He's on the right side of the fence. And I appreciate hearing some truth and some fact from Charlamagne. And I'm glad he had the platform to do it. And like you said, bro, these networks, if they actually were true journalistic networks like we used to have back in the day with Ted Koppel in 2020, you know what I'm saying, Nightline, you'll be getting the truth. But because there's so much money involved, and these people that own these networks know that they can get a break. If they get Trump in, they can get a tax break. They can get this, that, and the other. They're telling these people, yo, don't go too far when it comes to Trump. Allow him to be lawless. Just let him say what he's going to say. But when it comes to her, they know they're not going to get those breaks. So she has to be perfect. She has to be flawless, which is bullshit.
Come on, man. We all grew up as little tykes.
Man.
Channel 4, and your man Walter Cronkite would lean in and say,
and that's the way it is. Friday, March 6th, 1981.
And that's the way it is.
Man,
come
on.
You know what I'm saying? Before he signed off every night. You know, it was good to see. It was not even good. It was refreshing to see the man get up there, knowing how powerful he is. Like I was saying earlier, with the demographics of our children in that 30 age range in that area is on down. They listening to what Charlamagne and them is putting down. You know, Joe Rogan is putting down. I think it was you. Was it that you that sent me the thing that Joe Rogan was the most listened to podcast by black men or something?
Men, yeah.
Wow. You know, 2 weeks ago it was that she wasn't doing any interview. Where is she? We don't know who she is. She's not doing any interviews. Now she all over the place. She done did the town hall with the Telemundo with the Latinos. She just did the town hall with CNN with Anderson Cooper. You know
and
what
Trump
I mean?
didn't show up, right?
Right. And now she's gonna go chop it up with Joe Rogan this week sometime. She's gonna be on Club Shay. I would have to imagine that Screaming A will probably get his shot as well, seeing as
she need to stop by men of a certain age too. We need her on here one time.
That would be epic if she was to say that would be her realest interview that she ever got. Would be with men of a certain age. The suit, you know. But going back to Screaming A, even Screaming A, who has been in the suit a myriad of times, but this time he came with what they call the adobo. He hit us with some adobo this week.
The carrot got seasoned too? Oh, no. The carrot in it? Oh, man. Yeah, this is some good soup. Wow.
Good soup right there, man.
Yeah, with the adobo. Let's listen to what Screaming A had to say this
week. The carrot and the tomato, huh?
Old Bay seasoning around this one.
For possible programs, because I think if people find out, they're not going to be happy about it.
I hope that Kamala will win in the end.
What would be the policies that affect you most that drive you to vote for Kamala Harris?
Now, I'll be honest, I haven't paid enough attention to know her specific policies. It does seem like she's been there for the middle class, which a lot of my family is.
All right, joining us now with reaction is ESPN host, the one and only Stephen A. Smith. Do you want to get it out of the way now, how hard your life is, that you have to defend the fact that you admit that you're friends with me? You want to get that out of the way at the beginning or at the end?
I don't need to get that out of the way. The public knows that already. You get on my nerves. I don't agree with you 75% of the time, but you're still my buddy. I feel bad for you half the time with some of the takes you give, but I'm here to help you out anyway. What's going on, Sean?
Okay. All right. I always say, you say to me, stay in my lane when I talk sports, stay in your lane on politics. However, there's
there you go. There you go.
Demographic group. If you are going to attack them, you want them to vote a certain way, and you are going to suggest that they are sexist or misogynistic, if you're going to suggest, like Stacey Abrams did, that African-American men are racist and sexist, is that a good way to encourage people to vote the way you'd like them to vote?
No, but I didn't hear Stacey. I didn't hear Stacey Abrams speak in that way. Matter of fact, she talked about how black men do vote. Black men do support Kamala Harris. Black men do support a lot of the Democrats and what have you. She's absolutely right about that. I spoke against President Barack Obama, who I know you don't like that, but I admire and respect this man. I did not like what he had to say at that particular clip that you showed, and I spoke out about it on my show, the Stephen A. Smith Show, and I'm unapologetic about that because I know, by and large, black men have always supported black women. That's a fact. That's a point of fact. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't some misogyny that does exist amongst a few in our community. But I think that when we looked at this election that's forthcoming and we see Kamala Harris going up against Donald Trump, I don't think it's right to point to that as a reason why it's a nip and tuck race and why she isn't receiving the support that she deserves. And that is why I spoke out against what he had to say on that particular issue, because I was refuting what he was saying. I don't believe that to be the case at all when it comes to her.
All right, so let's stay on Kamala Harris for a second here. Democrats are in a state of panic. All the momentum seems to be going to Donald Trump. I told you this would happen in a private conversation we had. You were skeptical. I think I was proven right in sports.
I still am.
I do. I think I know politics. I know. But here's my question for you. You did call her out early, and you said she's making a mistake not doing interviews. Now, she does these interviews, and I argue to you that the reason she's struggling and she's tied up in a pretzel because she can't express what she has stated publicly, that she wants the Green New Deal, the elimination of the filibuster. She can't say she wants to eliminate private health insurance, as she has said in the past. She's not going to run on what she has stated in the past to decriminalize illegal immigration, free food, housing, healthcare, education, sex change operations, and path to citizenship, banning fracking, banning offshore drilling. So she has to give us word salads because she won't tell us how she really feels. She's hiding her true beliefs. Donald Trump doesn't do that.
First of all, that's a very long question. Let's get to it. Number one, you talk about what she's doing. Bottom line is this: as vice president of the United States, it wasn't her job to lead. She has to go along with the program. You are a support base. You support the person that is in charge, who happen to be Joe Biden. That's number one. I know you're not talking about somebody being lucid and cogent and enunciating their thoughts with clarity, and you're bragging about Donald Trump. We can't be watching the same stuff if that's what you're doing. You ain't going to do that today. Now, Lindsey Graham, now, Senator Lindsey Graham is about to come on this show. Now, that man can articulate himself very well. Not Donald Trump now.
I have sat with him for hour after hour, topic after topic, and he is so dialed in. Look, it's funny. People try. This is like the latest argument. And meanwhile, your friends in the Democratic Party, they ignored the obvious, significant, deep cognitive decline of the president.
So Stephen A. is always gonna dance. I'm dancing. He's always gonna dance. He had to do the little dance for the Lindsey Graham and this and that.
You had to throw that in there. Yeah.
I was shocked though that he pushed back on Hannity at all. And again, for Hannity to sit up there and say, I've sat up there with hours and hours with him and talked, and he was so laser focused. Man, if you don't knock it off.
Fucking hearsay.
Stephen A.
It's wild because Fox is an entertainment network, right? So the biggest star on Fox, the biggest show on Fox stars who? 45. So they're going to do everything to make sure that their bell cow that brings them their biggest ratings in cable news, even though they are entertainment, is safe. You know what I mean? They're going to ride it for as long as they can, no matter how much money it costs them, because obviously it's extremely profitable if they're able to withstand the Dominion voting lawsuit of $1 billion and still continue along the same path of promoting and exoiling Donald Trump. Like I said, it's entertainment. He's the biggest star. I'm glad to see that people who get on that people who we thought were questionable actually coming to their senses. I think but the more I think about it, the more I realize that it's probably a planned situation, whereas these people are coming in and letting it be known that, hey, listen, I thought about it. This is what we need to do. When they could have done it a long time ago, and I don't think the race would have even been this close, to be honest with you. So,
Screaming A, man. Like I said, I remember at once upon a time that I really enjoyed Stephen A. Like when he first popped up and he would be on ESPN and he'd be on the best damn sports show and stuff like that. And he was cutting his teeth. As they say, time changes, people change. Best friends become strangers. Stephen A showing a little backbone, or a little bit of pushback on Hannity. What you thought about that, Lord?
Stephen A, the thing about Stephen A is most recently, the only thing I've agreed with him on was the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? He's a Knicks guy. That was pretty much it with me and Stephen A. Now, I used to like him in the beginning, like you said, Fro. He turned into something that wasn't appealing for me to listen to or watch. You know what I mean? He would get in a certain lane and say stupid shit and be like, yo, man, what is this dude talking about? But in this instance, I'm the one guy or he the two guy. But again, I think like you said, he mentioned Lindsey Graham. He's still trying to show people that I'm still with them. I just disagree with them at this point. He had to make sure that he included that he was still friends with Sean Hannity also. So again, it's like he's still on the fence, but he's 75-25 at the moment, Stephen A. So I still look at him with a side eye.
Should the VP sit down with Screaming A? Does he deserve that little back and forth?
He's an egomaniac and he'd love it. I don't know whether he deserves to sit down with her or not. I'm sure she's going to highlight her Jamaican ancestor with him, and he's Jamaican as well. So it'll be interesting, man, to see if he's indeed, like I said, we always say the same thing, capitalism or community over capitalism. You need to pick a side. This is where you need to pick a side at. You got 8 days to pick a side and stand on it, period.
Yeah, as I said, it's going to come down to the
isms. Yeah.
Capitalism, racism, misogynism, sexism, the whole colorism, the whole 9 yards is on the ballot in 8 days.
Patriotism.
Yeah.
Patriotism. Say word. That's what it is. It's a whole lot of isms on this ballot, man. And it's going to come down to love or hate. Without this, Lee, man, I want to end this episode of The Soup, man, as we continue to cook up on a positive, positive note. And I'm talking about Miss, what is it, Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss.
Oh yeah, get it. Let's go.
We want to visit Miss Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss and the trials and the tribulations that they went through last election, presidential election. As we always say, there's consequences and repercussions to all of this shit, even for quote unquote America's mayor. Let's get into that real quick, y'all.
Who won a defamation suit against Rudy Giuliani will
Pay
soon
up.
get Manhattan penthouse apartment, as well as many of his. Country's Wendy Caron is live in the Satellite News Center with details on this ruling by a federal judge. Wendy, these items, and this all stems from the false claims made after the 2020 election.
That's right, those defamation claims. And just last year, Giuliani was ordered to pay nearly $150 million to Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman for lying about their activities during the 2020 presidential election. The judge ruled today the former New York City mayor needs to hand over his most valuable possessions in just a matter of days.
Called me screaming at the top of her lungs, like, Shay, oh my gosh, Shay, just freaking me out.
That was Shay Moss in an appearance before the January 6th committee. She said her life and her mother's were both turned upside down after Rudy Giuliani singled them out and accused them of tampering with ballots counted at State Farm Arena in the 2020 election. Ruby Freeman described how she was advised by FBI agents to move out of her home in order to stay safe.
They did not want me to be at home because of all the threats and everything that I had gotten. They didn't want me to be there in fear of the people would come into my home.
The two women won a defamation judgment against Giuliani last year, and he was ordered to pay them nearly $150 million. On Tuesday, a federal judge ordered Giuliani to turn over all of his valuable possessions. And that includes his Manhattan penthouse, his furniture, a collection of watches, sports memorabilia, including a signed Joe DiMaggio jersey, and a 19 Mercedes-Benz once owned by Hollywood star Lauren Bacall. The women are also entitled to $2 million in legal fees the Trump campaign still owes him. And so Rudy Giuliani has 1 week to turn over most of what he owes to Moss and Freeman. The judge has not decided yet whether Giuliani will be allowed to keep a Palm Beach, Florida condominium that he also owns. A hearing about that property is scheduled for next week. We'll let you know what happens. For now, live in the Satellite News Center.
Wendy.
As they say in the hood, damn.
Fucking with Trump.
Yeah, Rudy. You thought shit was sweet. This cat said that she was passing her mom's crack while they was in there counting votes, man. I mean,
Unbelievable.
It was definitely warranted for him to get banged in the head like this, man. Give me all of
everything. Everything.
Even the Benz that was owned by Lauren Bacall. We gonna auction that shit off too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna leave up out of here. Your legacy is gonna be of a disgraced, once highly thought of mayor of New York. You going out like a sucker. As EPMD said once a long
What a
time
way to go out like a sucker.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, the people that were voting for Trump, you see what he did to Giuliani? What the fuck would you vote for this dude for, man? He didn't even pay Giuliani. But you representing Trump, now you got defamation lawsuits. Now you got to give up your Joe DiMaggio jaunt. You got to give up your crib. You got to give it all up. Come on, man. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. You know what I mean? So why would you want to vote for someone who, like Trump, who can't even do business in New York State, but you would like to vote for him to run the rest of the country? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman, UH.
I love it because he made those women's lives extremely difficult. Like you said, she had to move. They had to literally, because of fear of their lives from what this guy said. And it's stereotypical. It's another ism. It's a stereotypical racism. Somebody smoking crack. Number one, who still smokes crack in 2020? At the time, 2020, I guess people still do. You know what I mean? But come on, man, that's stereotypical. Why weren't they smoking meth? You know what I'm saying? So they're smoking crack because they're black. Right. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is that people don't understand the power that these what these people call sycophants have. Because Bonnie Willis now has to ride around with security. She has to move back and forth between different places. You know, by the Trumps and the Giulianis of the world making them the enemy of their people, it causes them financial, emotional, and physical stress. Right. So why get every penny you can? I want you to get it all. Sell the condo, probably get 4 or 5 New York City penthouse, 40 million, 50 million. You know what I'm saying? So let's go. Get
it all. Grab that hair gun. Grab everything. Get it all of it.
It's consequences and repercussions to all of this shit, man. You playing with people's lives, people's livelihoods. People can't even have peace in their home. If you can't have peace in your home, where can you have peace at? You can't have peace. Can't have peace nowhere, man. Again, I'm gonna ring it and I'm gonna ring it again, man. We 8 days in the wake up from the jump off. Next week, man, we'll be 3 days in the wake up away from the whole thing, man. We're gonna watch how VP Harris moves in this last week, because this is the final week coming in a final stretch. I look at her moving around. Michelle Obama lit Trump ass up like a Christmas tree last night.
Did she?
I look at him, I'm like, yo, she is grinding so hard right now. And it's like, when is she gonna have some downtime? Obviously, we don't want her to have none because it's consequential to us that she grind the way she grinding this last week, man. It's gonna be interesting to see how Shannon does in his interview, because she going to Club Shay Shay. So we're gonna see how that pans out this week, man. My brothers, man, I hope y'all have a safe, prosperous week. I look forward to building with y'all next Sunday, as we will be on the countdown to the Get Down for Real. Bro, actually, UH, before we get up out of here, you got anything you want to share with the good people of the folks of the soup?
No, I'm an advocate for America. I always have been, always will be. I love it. We all love the country, man. Just think, man. Just think about the way that things are. I want people to understand that we have not experienced Donald Trump's America. We have no idea. And I think that's why everybody's so pensive. And that's why we're so serious about asking you to get out the vote, man, because we have no idea of what our country will look like under this guy. No idea whatsoever. We know it will be bad, a lot worse for people because of certain physical, ethnic, or political views that they have. But man, get out and vote. Don't let nobody try to dissuade you from voting, tell you your vote doesn't count. Remember, Donald Trump, all he wanted was 11,870 votes. One more than what we have. So your vote does count, y'all. Get out and vote. Encourage people to vote. If you need somebody to, if you know somebody who's transportation deficient, ask them, if you can help them get out and vote, man. But by all means, vote. That's all I have to say. That's all I'm going to be talking about for the next 8 days. Vote, vote.
That's what it is. Panero, man. Panero, come on, man, and cut the heat off, man, and take the soup off the stove.
Short and sweet, like usual. Here at Men of a Certain Age, we are community over capitalism. But I found out a lot of my people that I thought was my people are capitalism over community. So I'm going to call y'all boys out there sandwiches. Y'all sandwiches. No matter what y'all say, however y'all flip and bounce the sandwich, the bread come first for y'all. And I don't appreciate that shit.
Talk to him. Talk to him. I like that. I like that.
And to everybody out there, y'all stay focused, man. Stay focused because we coming down the stretch. And as always, it's the same old soup. We just reheating it. Let's go Yankees.
Let's go Yankees. Let's go Bills.
Get out and vote too.
Vote, man. Later, y'all.
Yes, sir.
Peace.